now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since it's been out there. The government has been bigger. There we go. Let's try that again. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, I decided that we were going to stream from a slightly different location. So I've got an interesting development for you guys, and you will be discovering why we're talking in our kitchen. And we're also going to be talking about, as far as the crypto aspect of things, about the Federal Reserve's release tomorrow and the importance that that will have on Bitcoin. You might be wondering, well, Jeb, why are you streaming from home again? There is a criminal case that is currently ongoing against a person that we know through a couple of different people, and we've decided to cooperate with that case because we thought some of the things that took place were deplorable. And out of safety concern, I'm going to be streaming from home, at least for today. I don't know how long that's going to be, but for today, I'm going to be streaming from home. Luckily, we do have a good setup. You can see this is my house. You guys have never kind of seen the background. This is our kitchen, living room. Give you a little miniature house tour, but got good audio. Hopefully the visual looks appealing enough. And today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and we're going to be talking about where that market is going to head next. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you guys so very much, and sorry about the no sound. Whenever I switch over to my little miniature Shure MVI here, sometimes I forget to change the source. That's how I knew how to fix that very quickly. Alex Nibo's in chat, said good morning. Good morning to you as well, Alex Nibo. Mike Lowry's in chat, said morning. Crypto Mini Bike is in chat. And by the way, make sure to tell me if the sound is good. I think it's good, so let me know. Appreciate all of you guys. It says it's good on my end. Joe Bollier's in chat. OC Pet Doctor's in chat. Sean Galt is in chat. BTC Crypto Alerts is in chat. Philly Skills 1428 said, morning, Jeb. What's going on? Not much, my friend. Robert Kehoe is in chat, said, morning. Actually, I take that back. What's going on? Not much. That's not even close to true. There is so much stuff going on right now, both in cryptocurrency and also in our lives. Some of those announcements you will be hearing coming up in the next couple of weeks. CBD Study is in chat, said, good morning, Jeb. Good morning to you as well. Happy to see you. Patrick Power in chats. Ryan Jenkins in chat. Lone Quixote in chat. I love that name so much. Lone Quixote, not Don Quixote. Crypto Mini Bike said, watching the names come back to Jeb will be nice. Yes, I think there's going to be some more work going on I think there's going to be some more collaborations going on in the future. A lot of really cool ideas that we have in the kitchen. I'm sorry. I was reading Fox P2's comment in the works. Sound is good. Good morning, Jeb. Good morning to all of you guys. All right, Chef Jeb in the house. Yeah, there you go. I got my little strawberry right here. There you go. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and talk Bitcoin. Now I have to swallow that. Bitcoin's currently trading at $26,953. It is down 1% over the last 24 hours, up 3.26% over the last 7 days. And that's the trend that we're going to start out by talking about today, and that is the fact that Bitcoin has gone through the beginning stages of a new rally. As you can see, Bitcoin has rallied quite sharply over the course of the last several weeks. About the last week or so, we've seen a rally on Bitcoin of a couple of $1,000s, about 10% up, $2,500 over 7 days, and we've continued to set fresh highs. We set a couple of highs back here on the 14th of September and the 15th of September. Then we rallied all the way up to the 18th of September's high of 27,400, and just over the last several hours, we rallied all the way up to 27,450. From there, we've gone through a correction, but there is this strong uptrend in play, so it leads us to that conclusion that Bitcoin is really trying to make a new breakout. There are 3 different areas where you can enter into a trade, and I'm going to go over those briefly and show you why this is an area where you want to be considering a a swing long trade. There are 3 different areas to enter a long. You can enter a long on the downtrend when the market is still trending to the downside. You can enter into a trade when the market is trading sideways, or you can enter into a trade when the market is trading up and when it's begun its reversal. A practical example of that shows up back here. You can see during the last several months, we saw Bitcoin go through a major capitulation from $31,000, going through correction here. Then it began trading sideways through all of this time period, and then eventually it started a major rally. There are 3 different places you could have invested in this market. You could have invested back over here when we were still in the downtrend and you didn't know where the bottom was yet. You could have invested down here in the sideways action when you don't know when that reversal is going to come, or you could invest after you've got a confirmation of the upside. The best place, if I just go ahead and go to another chart here that's a lot cleaner, the best place to invest in this market, let's go ahead and delete all of our drawings, was the second that Bitcoin broke that downtrend. Bitcoin had been under that downtrend for quite some time, trading down, and then for the last month or so here, trading mostly sideways with a couple of more, larger capitulations. The best, absolute best place to put a trade was right here. Now, of course, we're saying that with the benefit of hindsight, but the principle also tells us the same thing. It tells us as you start to break through major critical resistance, that's when you should be looking to go into an entry. Not sooner and not as much later, but right as you're starting to break through the critical resistance that redefines whether you're in a downtrend or an uptrend. And the reason that that's so significant is because that's where we're moving into today. We're moving away from a major downtrend, we're moving away from sideways trading, and now we're entering into an uptrend with the possibility of a breakthrough resistance. And if we just go ahead and clear out some of the levels of support and resistance here that are important but not as relevant to what we're talking about today, you can see that that downtrending level of resistance is right here. That downtrending level of resistance right here that starts up around the 13th of July and moves all the way down here is being tested right now, in the similar way that the market tested this downtrending level of resistance over and over and over again. It took Bitcoin confidently breaking through that downtrending level of resistance before it could go into an uptrend. So it's not confirmed yet that we've gone into a new uptrend. But if you're going to go into a swing long here and try and trade for the next 2 months, then you're in much better shape to do that right now than you would have been if you had done that a while ago, like 2-3 weeks ago. So the question now becomes, is that what we are supposed to be doing? That's what I want to see. He means the names coming back to chat. Yes, I'm really excited to see a lot of similar names that we saw back during the last bull market in chat. I really do think a lot of attention is coming into the cryptocurrency space right now, and I'm so very excited to see where that's going to go during the next bull market. And I've got a lot of things that I want to announce that I just got to pull the trigger on. You guys know that we launched financial coaching. If you guys aren't familiar with that, that is something that I do. So if you're interested in trying to get your personal finances under control, the reason that I believe that's so important is because if you don't have a strong foundation in personal finance, your trading and your investing is likely not going to be the thing that's going to make a big difference in your life, because when you make that money, you might not have a system to actually utilize it. So we launched that. Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis is obviously up, and there's a few other big announcements that I have coming up relatively soon that I think you guys are going to be absolutely stoked to hear. All right, so let's continue on here. Just want to check and make sure everything was good on the stream side of things. But the question now becomes, are we ready for that swing trade on the medium term here when we look at the next 2 to 3 weeks? Well, we have not broken through this downtrending level of resistance yet, but I think that there may be some news coming out relatively soon that could cause that to take place. And that shows up over here on the CME Group's website. CME Group FedWatch tool is showing that we've only got a little over a day left until the next FOMC meeting. They are predicting with 99% certainty that we're not going to see a change. I am extremely hesitant to disagree with the CME Group, because CME literally works directly with the Fed. They may as well be the closest to insider information that we have, and they've also got a team of dozens of economists that work on this prediction, because the majority of Wall Street looks at this exact same website that I'm showing you right here. This is a very, very, very closely watched tool. CME Group obviously is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They are the exchange where the Bitcoin futures are on. They're one of the largest exchanges not only in the country but also in the world. They're not the largest exchange, stock market exchange in the United States, but they are larger than the vast majority of countries' largest stock exchange. Put it that way. So, are we going to see a Fed hike? CME Group is predicting not. I'm not going to go against that because it's such a high likelihood that they're giving. So it seems like we're going to see a pause on the effective federal funds rate tomorrow. And if that does occur, that could be a catalyst for Bitcoin because many people are concerned about the effective federal funds rate rising even more than it already has as a result of the fact that we have seen such massive growth in the inflation. We've seen core inflation has been coming down, but we've seen CPI, the headline CPI, jump dramatically from 3% all the way up to 3.7%. And if you've been watching our channel over the last 90 days, you'll know that that's going to continue. October 12th, we're going to see another hike, more than likely, because energy is mixing things up. Gasoline prices are going up. 12-month ago's data is dropping off on energy. Next month, you're going to see energy at 0 to 1%, potentially even slightly higher than that. The month after, you'll probably see it at 10. It's at negative 3.6 right now. CPI is the main metric that the Fed watches when they are trying to decide what they're going to do with Fed rate hikes. Right now, we're sitting at 5.25 to 5.5. The range, I think the actual number is 5.4. But the Fed at this point is looking into whether or not they need to continue hiking those rates. Right now, it seems, according to CME, that they are confident that keeping the rate at its current level, but just maybe holding it there for longer is enough to bring CPI under control. But if you look at the gasoline prices, which again is one of the major drivers of CPI right now, they're continuing to increase by 10 to 15 cents a gallon every single month. It's absurd. So the Fed is looking at gasoline prices, but also at the rest of the market. Many of the other components of CPI are coming down, such as food, such as, well, here we can just look at the table ourselves. If we look at read more right here, this is bls.gov/CPI. You see many of these different numbers are coming down somewhat. Hospitality services, for example, so you're talking about hotels there. Shelters coming down slightly. New vehicles has come down a good bit. Apparel's come down. Now you're still looking at motor vehicle insurance being exceptionally high, and I know all about that because I've been having to deal with that one lately, and it is exceptionally high. Absolutely. But with gasoline going up, with motor vehicle insurance staying up, but with also many of the other components of CPI going down, it seems that the Fed is starting to find some kind of confidence that perhaps 5.25 is enough, and they don't need to hike it up to 6 as we originally anticipated that they might. And so the reason that that's so important is because if the Fed doesn't hike it to 6, and if they do leave it at 5.25 to 5.5, which again, don't quote me on this, but I believe that I want to say it's the actual rate's 5.4. You'd have to check the minutes because they give it as a range, but they also give it as a number. If they do leave it there and they don't hike it anymore, and there's this confidence that's built in the market that, okay, the Fed is done. There's not a confidence in the market yet that the Fed is done hiking rates. There's just not even close. Just a month ago, we saw, or 2 months ago, we saw a rate hike. July, we saw a rate hike. So if we're able to build this confidence that there's not going to be any more rate hikes, then that's where the average investor in the United States stock market, and you can see this chart right here. This is the chart of the effective federal funds rate. I'm not sure why it's on a column. Let's look at a line chart. You can see the effective federal funds rate sat here at 5%, jumped all the way up to 5.33. If we don't see that rate hike and then we don't see another one in 45 days, remember, the next meeting is going to be November 1st. If we see a pause here and then we also see a pause on November 1st, that's where the market is going to get very excited. And the reason for that is quite simple. The Fed has been going through a asymptotic slowdown of the effective federal funds rate hikes. There was originally a 0.25, then a 0.5, then a 0.75. I think there were 4 0.75s. Might have been 5. There were however many. I think 4. And then there was a 0.5, and then there was a 0.25, and then there was, let's look at it here. There was a 0.25, a 0.25, a 0.25, so several 3.25s. 3 is the number, 0.25%, 25 basis point rate hikes, and then there was a pause. And so they hiked it 25 basis points, and then they skipped. And then they hiked it 25 basis points, and then they what? They're about to skip. As you can see, that's what's being predicted right now, that there's going to be a skip. So the question then that everybody is going to look at is whether or not we're going to see a Fed rate pause or a Fed rate hike next month on November 1st, because the trend is already that they skip one. This is the Fed. This is the decision where they would skip one. The question becomes, are they going to skip on November 1st? I don't think so. I think that they'll probably hike at 25 basis points once again because there's a lot of hawks on the FOMC who want to see CPI come down, especially considering the fact that we're moving into an election year next year. The Federal Reserve wants to see the consumer price index come down. Biden has gotten a lot of flack for the inflation, which is understandable. And that has not done anything favorable for his standing in the polls. There are plenty of people that have asked him, well, what about inflation? What about inflation? It's at 9.6. Oh my gosh, now it's going back up. And so Biden just sits here and goes, well, it's lower than it could have been. It could have been 20%. And it's like, that's not a wrong argument, but it's also not an argument that's actually going to get people behind you. And so while the Fed has been set up in such a way that it should theoretically be somewhat divorced from American politics, that's also just not really the case, especially considering the people on the Fed are working very closely with the President of the United States. They want to see inflation come down because they want to meet their mandate of 2% target inflation, but they also want to see inflation come down because they want to make things look good for the incumbent, that being President Joe Biden. So I would not be surprised to see another effective federal funds rate hike coming up on November 1st. So we want to make sure that we pay close attention to that. All right, let's go ahead and look here at the chart because I want to kind of marry together the implications of the effective federal funds rate pausing and the current location of the Bitcoin market. So if we see a Fed rate pause, what has that done to Bitcoin before? If we go back to the effective federal funds rate, we can see that the last time that a Fed rate a decision was skipped was about mid-June. I believe it'll actually show us here historical. Go to historical, and it should show us the dates. 14th of June. Okay, so that was the correct date. Now we can go back over to the Bitcoin chart, and we can look at what happened on the 14th of June when we saw a Fed rate pause. That's convenient timing. And so you see why I am watching the Federal Reserve's rate hikes so closely. The last time that we saw a Fed rate pause, we saw Bitcoin rally exorbitantly. Now, we shouldn't either forget that we saw the BlackRock ETF application get filed the next day. So you had a double whammy of bullish news. You saw the very first Fed rate pause, and you saw the BlackRock ETF application announced. We have not seen a double whammy this time, except you could argue that last Wednesday when we saw the effective federal, the CPI data come out, and Bitcoin didn't respond bearishly. Bitcoin did not respond in the negative. Instead, Bitcoin actually began to rally despite the fact that CPI, sorry, I was on the wrong screen there, despite the fact that CPI came back bearish. We saw a 0.5% increase. So that was bullish. That showed us that the bulls were stronger than that bearish news. And you might think, well, Jeb, shouldn't inflation going up be a good thing for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation? Theoretically, but many people are concerned that when inflation goes up, the effective federal funds rate will also go up, and that will also lead to a constrained debt market, which means that there's less interest in investing in the cryptocurrency markets because it's viewed as a risk-on market, and you typically only invest in a risk-on market when the market is absolutely exploding. And if you have a tight debt market, the whole point of tightening the debt market through the manipulation of interest rates, which is what the effective federal funds rate is, slows down growth. Hopefully that made sense. Again, if you see high inflation, let me just kind of explain this. This is a very important thesis. When you see high inflation, it leads to the effective federal funds rate going up, which makes it more difficult to borrow money, which makes it more difficult for the average business in the United States to grow, which makes it harder for the stock market to go up, which means, and we're having to follow like 5 chains of reason here, but they do tie in very closely, which means that if the stock market's not doing as well, then you are going to see the traditional average investor be less likely to go into risk-on assets. The average investor in their 401k or their Roth IRA is not going to be putting it into a basket of their investment into a basket of tech stocks or into Bitcoin. Instead, they're going to be putting their investment right back into the S&P 500 because they see that as the stable state that they can invest in for the long term. But that's not what's happening right now. We saw inflation go up, and we're looking like a pause may occur. And so if we're seeing inflation going up, and we see a pause occur, then that can start to break that thesis in people's minds. It can start to break the idea in people's minds that, okay, inflation is going to go up, which means that the effective federal funds rate is going to go up, which means that debt's going to get more expensive. If we see a skip here, in short, that is bullish for Bitcoin because it starts to break down that idea in the investor's mind that if inflation goes up, the effective federal funds rate is going to go up, which means I should be less invested in risk-on assets. It's a kind of almost seemingly convoluted train of thought, but I think it's actually one of the biggest drivers of the United States stock market right now. That simply being the way that the market perceives the market, the self-perception of the market, in light of the effective federal funds rate and its impact on business and business expansion and taking out lines of credit and loans for business for business operations. So the implications of this for Bitcoin. First and foremost, Bitcoin did not respond negatively to the increase on CPI. This is the largest increase on CPI that we've seen in well over a year. We are also about to see a Fed rate pause, most likely. And part of the reason for that is because they're going through this skip a step kind of deal with the effective federal funds rate. The last time that happened, it was very bullish for Bitcoin. Bitcoin also just so happens to find itself right below critical resistance in the same way it did the last time that we saw the Fed skip a rate hike. It stands to reason to me that we're about to see a major breakout and rally on Bitcoin. And I think that we're going to see that take place when the effective federal funds rate skips and when Jerome Powell comes out and does his press conference, especially depending on what he says. I will be taking a close look at that to the best of my ability tomorrow. All right, so what's going to happen here? Let's look down on the hourly chart. Bitcoin's been trending to the upside. We've already got a first leg of an uptrend, sideways consolidation that was trending up. So that's good. It was sideways consolidation, but it was still technically an uptrend. Then we've got another leg up. Looks something like this. That is very, very significant because it leads to this state of confidence that the market is in right now, leading into the uptrend. So we've got bullish news coming in. We've got an uptrend that is being tested. We've got a market that is already bullish. Down on the hourly chart, we've got, or not even on the hourly chart, let's look at the 4-hourly chart. Down on the 4-hourly chart, you've got RSI that's jumped up above 70. You've got MACD that is bullish. On the daily chart, you've got MACD that's bullish, that's looking like it's about to cross above 0. You've got the RSI jumping above 50, indicating that the bulls are now back in charge. And that all coincides with Lux Algo coming in with what we hope to be a green trend catcher. We didn't end up getting green trend catcher yesterday because the market dropped too far. Because remember, yesterday I said that green trend catcher would be a great sign, but we need to see the candlestick close high enough or else it won't happen. Didn't close high enough, so it didn't happen. Lux Algo signals show up at the end of the candlestick, as they should. Some people don't like that technical indicators do that, but that's the way that it should be, or else it's going to end up giving you wrong data. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. It gets confirmed at the end of the candlestick. That's the way it should be. Or you could say the beginning of the next candlestick, however you want to put it. RSI is bullish. MACD is bullish. Lux Algo is very, very much in position to be bullish. It's not quite bullish yet, but it's in position to be bullish. Even when we look down here at the shorter term time frames, there's a little bit of an uptrend right now. There's so much going on here that we need to piece together, but pretty much everything that we're looking at here is bullish. Now, again, we're in this little bit of a downtrend here on the minute chart, but even on the minute chart, look at this. We have a major correction, major rally. There's a lot of volatility right now. If you're a day trader in cryptocurrency, there is quite a lot of volatility for you to be trading. These are large movements. This was a 1% movement. You're on 3x levers. That's a 3% movement that you can trade. Absolutely something that you should be looking into. So, again, my thesis is that we're coming into an uptrend and a breakout. How's that going to happen? Well, let's go ahead and look at our positions. I believe that for Bitcoin to go through a breakout, we're going to need to see Bitcoin break above that downtrending level of resistance confidently, which means that there's two real scenarios. Either one, Bitcoin could break above this downtrend and just smash straight through it, or we could do something similar to what we've done in times past, where the market will break above a certain downtrend for just a couple of hours, confirm it as support, and then bounce. We've seen this happen over and over again. That's what we saw the last time we saw this same exact pattern form. So you want to be ready for both scenarios. In a way, you do want to be ready to trade this movement as soon as it breaks above the downtrend. But on the other hand, you also want to make sure that you are not getting into the movement too early. So how do you manage that? Well, as with any trade, you have a plan. You have a plan, and you remember that the number one purpose of your trading is not so much to make money, it is to learn how to get better, because that's where you're going to get compound interest on your skills. Most people don't make profit day trading, but I believe you can if you continue to view it that way. Not viewing it to make money, we're viewing it to learn how to be better. The money will be the byproduct. Let the income be the byproduct. So, Bitcoin breaking above this downtrending level of resistance here, obviously you would look into going into a short relatively soon above that. I would say probably just to give yourself a number, then you could potentially enter into a long like 27,813. That may be a little bit high, but that would be the top of the candle bodies for the daily chart of this rally that took place back when Grayscale launched. Another level that you could look at would be the 200 moving average. As you can see, we've actually already broken through that. So pretty much anywhere right here could be that trade. If Bitcoin ends up breaking through here and then coming back and backtesting the 200 moving average, then the bounce off of that, once you see the confirmation, that could be your entry. There's a lot of different ways to enter this trade. It's not as simple as it seems. And part of the reason it's not as simple as it seems is because this is a big trade. Bitcoin's already gone through quite a lot of the rally, so you want to see a lot of confirmation. It's difficult to come up with a solid plan here, but what I would say is that you want to enter at least a couple of $100 above the downtrend, and then if you start to fall below the downtrend, then you have a stop loss. That stop loss should be no more than probably 2.5%, because on this movement, we're looking at what could easily be a 10% return. Our next major level of support is up here at about $28,900. If we do rally up here, it's about a 5% gain. That's only like a 2x risk to reward ratio, though. So that's where you have to be really careful about how you go into this trade. I would personally play this relatively conservative, because by playing it relatively conservative, waiting a little bit longer than you might originally, you're going to be able to get a better entry, because, again, that next major level of resistance is sitting up there at about 29,000. That's the previous baseline of the market. It's also previous resistance set here in late March of this year. Breaking up to that level would absolutely be something that you could trade, but you would want to make sure that you cover your bases and mitigate your risk as much as you possibly can. So by waiting a little bit longer before you actually decide on your exact entry prices and watching it like a hawk, maybe setting an alert if you get up above 27.3 so that you can catch a movement live, that would probably be your best bet. Normally, I'm going to give you some kind of idea for a trade setup, but if I'm trying to do a trade setup here, and I am, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to wait and let this market develop a little bit more before I start to lock in a plan, because I think I need a little bit more information. If we're able to see, excuse me, if we're able to see trend catcher turn green, which, by the way, just in the last 5 minutes has already gone back red because Bitcoin dropped like $10. It's a little fickle. Then that's going to be solid. But I want to see Bitcoin closing a daily candlestick above the 200 weekly EMA. We only saw that happen once up here, and we ended up going through a sell signal, reconfirmed sell signal the next day, and dropping much farther to the downside. I want to see Bitcoin closing higher than it has so far. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin. I think that a long opportunity is fast approaching, but I think that we're going to need to pay close attention to that long opportunity over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of hours, because the effective federal funds rate decision is in about 27 hours. We're going to watch it very closely, and then we will move forward with a plan, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow if the market has not yet moved. Mike Lowry said he means the other guy's channel has changed time, suggesting people will return to your stream. Oh, I see. I think I know what you're saying. Gotcha. Really? How about that? Let's see. Huh? I'm a little confused. Not sure exactly what you're talking about, but sounds good. All right. Let's go ahead and read chat. Maybe we've only been bullish because let's see here. Maybe we've only been bullish because leading up to this likely pause by the rumor, just a consideration. Yes, that is absolutely something to consider. The market has absolutely been in this sort of by the rumor state. It's very important. All right. Let's see. Sound is good. Good morning, Jeb. Thank you, Moses. Moses Chimaroic Vincent. Chimaroic? Rayoke? Chimaroic Vincent? Is that how you pronounce that? Good to see you. Okay. BTC Crypto Alerts has just mentioned an article that I wanted to mention as well. Not going to talk about it too much, but I think it is interesting. He said FTX founder's parents sued, accused of stealing millions from the crypto exchange. I was wondering, I think we were all wondering, how they were able to afford that multi-million-dollar mansion when they were school teachers. It's a little bit like, how does Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi or, let me just try and think of somebody on the left or on the right so that you got, let's see, or how does, I don't know, I honestly can't think of anybody. I'm trying to think of somebody on the right just so that I'm being bipartisan here, but how does Chuck Schumer, any of these people that are making like $100,000 a year working in the Senate wind up being worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Wonder how that happened. No, a lot of it has to do with speaking engagements. You get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for speaking engagements if you're that high up. All right. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how we can make the most of this. Again, I think it's very important that we pay close attention to the announcement. The announcement will be coming out at 2. Of course, the press conference is at 2:30. That's the way that this always goes. And so we want to make sure that we're in position. What are some ways that we can prepare ourselves for this trade opportunity? One of the main things that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set some alerts. If you guys do not use alerts on TradingView, you can use your alert right here. Grab an alert. So right here, BTC USD crossing price 27,300. Go ahead and do that. Trigger only once, or you can do every time. Expiration, let it expire, and then let me just, before I click this, let me make sure that won't show anything. Nope, won't show anything. It'll give you a notification app. You can send an email, webhook. It'll play a sound. It can even text you, and you can set these alerts. I'm going to go ahead and create this, because I am personally pretty interested in Bitcoin crossing 27,300, because that means that Bitcoin is rallying up here to the downtrend, and that might be a place that I would want to take a trade. That may be something that I would want to do. Now, just a couple of things I want you to remember about going into these trades is that when you do enter into a trade, you want to make sure that you're mitigating your risk by keeping as tight a stop loss as possible. I prefer to use either an automatic or a manual trailing stop loss. You can do it in your head. You can say, all right, well, it's at 27.3, so if it, I need to put a 0.1% trailing stop loss, and that's $273. So that's 27.27. So I'll go ahead and, yes, 27.027, and that'll be my stop loss. And if it moves a little bit, then I'll move it. You can do it manually. It's a bit of a pain. If you're on an exchange that does allow you to have a automatic trailing stop loss, then those are quite nice. You don't find all of the same creature comforts on every single exchange that you're looking for. That's one that I don't mind doing manually because it forces me to watch the market live. I'm not just relying on the take profit, on the stop loss. But you want to make sure before you go into any trade that you have a couple of things. Number one, you have a plan. And in that plan, you, number one, have your entry. Number two, you have your exit. Number three, you have your stop loss. And number four, your stop loss and your plan for your trailing stop loss. And number four, you have a good reason, a good why. Well, here's your why. The why is we have not seen Bitcoin fail to go through a rally when it's seen a Fed rate pause. We saw the CPI come out, and it didn't really do anything bearish to Bitcoin. Instead, Bitcoin rallied. And because we know the correlation between the effective federal funds rate hikes and the correlation between the CPI data, that gives us confidence that a rally could be forming. So the odds may be ever in our favor. Now, there is one or two considerations that we need to take into account as well. First and foremost, the Dixie is in a general uptrend. However, in the much shorter term, Dixie is in a relatively short downtrend. That's good news. And the timing here is not a coincidence. That relatively short downtrend on Dixie started right about here. If I just bring up the overlay here, you can see that relatively short downtrend on Dixie actually started right here, and Bitcoin's been rallying through it. There's a very strong inverse correlation between those two markets. The other thing to consider is the SPY. The SPY right now is going through a correction. It's actually already just broken some support. So neither of those things are particularly good for Bitcoin. The Dixie is in a general uptrend, although it's moving to the downside relatively in the relative short term, but the overall trend is up, so it could flip bullish at any point. The SPY is also moving to the downside. So neither of those are particularly bullish for Bitcoin, so we want to keep those things in mind, because if Bitcoin is not able to break through these levels that we're looking at right now, that would probably be why. And that's one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to give any kind of trade setup idea just yet because I want to give the market more time to mature so that we have more of an understanding of where things are going. I think it may still be 12 to 24 hours before a breakout occurs if it does, and so we're going to watch it closely so that when or if one shall happen, we will be ready to take advantage of it. If you guys are enjoying today's video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you content here on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, trading and investing, market updates every single day. Really appreciate all of you for being here. And if you have not already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JEB30, JEBB30. Just had a phone call with Sean, the founder of Lux Algo, yesterday. Good friend of mine. We caught up a lot. We were able to kind of catch up. We hadn't talked much since the baby was born because we've just been so busy. But if you guys don't know, let me just go ahead and give a quick plug to his channel over here. It's just called Lux Algo on YouTube. But obviously, it's him that's actually doing it here. Make sure to go and check out Lux Algo's YouTube channel. They've got a lot of great content here teaching how to use the indicator and also just Lux Algo itself. And of course, like I said, that's Lux Algo's channel. But I thought Sean Mack had his own channel. All right, well, I will look into that and see where. I must be missing something. I'm missing something, surely. Huh, something may have changed. Interesting. All right. Well, either way, shout out to Lux Algo. Appreciate all that they've done. All right, so let's continue on here, reading chat. And like I said, if you're interested in Lux Algo, I found it very helpful. It's so cool because the vision that they've got over there is they're basically becoming the biggest name in technical analysis and the biggest servant to the technical analysis community in both cryptocurrency and in the stock market. And that's really cool. I think that's so amazing because technical analysis has had this bad rap for a long time in in traditional markets is, oh, you're a technical analyst. Oh, you're like the grunt level intern that just started. You're not the real deal. You're not the guy that actually gets onto CNBC. And I think technical analysis is such a powerful art and science that for it not to be taken seriously, I think is an absolute disservice to anybody who's trying to invest in markets. And so technical analysis being pushed further to the forefront, I think is something that's really going to be very good for the average investor and trader. Philippe Tobar Racing said, "Hi, Jeb. Regards from Chile." Hello. Good morning and welcome to the channel. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Really excited to have all of you here. Alex S. in chat said, "Jeb, what's up? Good to see you." I'm My Hero said, "Sup, homies. What's up?" Daniel Edwards said, "No way he will announce a pause." We'll see. I think that he probably will at this point, based on the trend that I'm seeing. But I'm not anywhere near as confident that the next decision after that will be a pause. Okay. If we start downtrending, it's a bear trap, IMO. I could definitely see that. Someone keeps saying I should apply to be Ben Armstrong's assistant. What is he, hiring an assistant? You've been saying that for like a week, and I just haven't responded to it. Yeah. So anyway, not going to go there. But anyway, we've got Diane 11CA said has joined as a Jedi Youngling. Welcome, Diana. Thank you, Diane. It's probably Diane. Welcome, Diane. Thank you so much. Let's see. Mike Lowry said something that I caught, but it doesn't look like a lot of people noticed. Mike Lowry said, "I tried to be vague, but no one understood. The Investing Bros announced today they'll be streaming late afternoon now. A lot of viewers there said they'll be coming back to Jeb's stream." Well, welcome if you guys are here. Had a phone call with Tim just a couple of weeks ago. He's doing well. He and I are on good terms, just in case any of you guys have been wondering about that. There's not a beef there. I know some people seem to think that that's the case. Tim and I are still good. So we, mutually decided that there was a creative differences, I believe is the political term, a little over a year ago that took place. And but Tim is doing his own thing. Don't have any beef with Tim. So there you go. What's your go-to dish that you cook in the kitchen there, chef? Man, I tell you what. I was telling somebody yesterday, I can make myself a mean plate of scrambled eggs. No, I was just kidding. My wife is the incredible cook. In fact, we have I literally have a crock pot right here. She made some just delicious food yesterday. My wife made some delicious food. She also made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while I was getting the stream going, and got me a glass of milk. Got the milk stash. There we go. Love streaming from home. All the amenities. Agreed. Jeb is on point. Thank you guys so much. I'm really excited. Look, let me just be vulnerable with you guys here for the next 5 minutes. Because that's one of the things I think made this channel great, and I feel like I've done a bit of a disservice to that. Because I not that I've ever stopped being authentic, but I think I've stopped showing as much of what's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot going on in our personal life, and we're really just learning how to be better stewards of all of the things that we're entrusted with, right? We have a home. As you can see, it's not exactly a small home to take care of. We've got a toddler, a 2-year-old. He's turning 3 relatively soon. We've got a baby. We've got a business that we're still adjusting to running on our own. We're trying to be good Christians, spend time in our word, make sure we're meeting our church commitments. We're trying to manage everything. And I'm just going to be honest. One of the things that we've learned is that there is so much just busyness. There's so much busyness in life, and it's kind of miserable sometimes because there's so much running around to do and so much here and there and driving all over the place. And we've come up with a solution. Come up with a big solution that I think is going to help you guys a lot. Bitcoin Trini said, what's going on? A lot of people are probably wondering again why I'm in my kitchen. That's another thing that's going on. Like I said, there is I'm going to be pretty vague here because this is an ongoing criminal case, but there is a criminal case that we decided to cooperate in. Obviously we're not the ones on trial, but a individual who is familiar also. How do I say this as politically as possible? I'm not trying to be political, but to protect the people that are involved in this, someone that we know, there's a criminal case with someone that person knows. And we were on the phone with a prosecutor for about an hour and a half yesterday discussing that. There were some things that happened that were disgusting. And so out of safety concern, I decided to be home today just because of that. So that's why I'm at my kitchen table today. I also like kind of building in some flexibility into the stream because we look at our priorities, right? And we're trying to figure out what our priorities in our life is. And we love our life. We're so very thankful for everything that we have. And we're so very thankful for each other and our children and our Lord. And we really want to be able to build a life, I think, that we're able to follow God, spend time as a family, build our ministry and serve others in that order. And so how do we build that? Well, especially in this season of our life, we're realizing flexibility is pretty important. We're realizing that, having lower complexity is important. Making things simpler is important. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I can definitely relate to the fact that sometimes you just feel like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to meet every single commitment, and then you just have commitments slipping through the cracks. And you know what that does? That doesn't do anything good for your own confidence in your ability to get things done. I read the one thing that I have been very good on. I read 3 chapters of the Bible every single day, and I have this rock solid confidence in me, like, okay, that's going to happen. I know that that's going to happen because I've got this track record of making it happen. And so we're trying to figure out how do we make our life simpler so the commitments and the dependencies that some people call them are as simple as possible so we can ace them and then have that peace from knowing that what we've embarked on, we're doing well. And so we're trying to still figure that out. You guys got to remember, we're 23. My wife and I both. We're 23 with a 2-year-old, about to be a 3-year-old and an infant. And I think that some of the decisions that we've made that you guys are going to see are going to end up being really good for us, but they're also, for your sake, going to end up being really good for you guys. I think you guys are going to get some of the I'm not even kidding here. Listen to this. I think you guys are going to get some of the coolest content in the next couple of years that you have ever seen on this channel. I think you're going to get some of the coolest content, most value add content that you've ever seen on this channel. We just have to figure out how to put all those pieces together. Just got to figure out how to put all those pieces together and make it work with consistency. And I think we've got a plan. I think we've got a good plan that's going to work out well. And it's going to be a little bit of a change. But it's going to be good. I think you guys are going to love it. Oh man, I think you guys are going to love it so much. I look back on the history of the channel. I'm like, okay, we've done this right, we've done this right, we've done this right, we've done this right, we've done this wrong, we've done this wrong, we've done this wrong. How do we minimize how much of the stuff we've done wrong, the decisions that we made that were not the best for you guys, the viewer, and how do we maximize the number of decisions that have been the best for you guys, for the viewer? And I think we've got a plan that is going to maximize leaning into all of the strengths that we've built over the last 6 years, and then minimizing many of the other mistakes that we've made, or areas that have been difficulties for you guys and for us. Dan T said, you need to make sure that you understand what you're reading. Don't just read it to read. Dan T, I think he's talking about someone in their personal life. Yeah, no, Dan T, by the way, when okay, so I should probably clarify this because people are going to start connecting dots that were not meant to be connected. Nothing that I was talking about had anything to do with Ben Armstrong. Let me just make that very clear. I don't know of any case going on there. It has nothing to do with that. The individuals that I'm talking about with the whole safety concern thing has zero to do with anything any of you guys know. Someone literally in just our personal life. So, in case somebody was putting 2 and 2 together there, that's not at all what I'm talking about, Dan T. Tim and Ben, no. Got nothing to do with Tim and Ben. Not at all. Like I said, apologies if there was any accidental misunderstanding there. I'm not talking about Ben or Tim at all. I know both of those men. I pray for both of those men. I hope they're both doing well. I know there's been some drama. That is not my drama. So I kind of, I commentated on it there for about a week because it was important and because I want to make sure the narrative was set correctly. And I think the narrative was set correctly. And I think it has been being discussed from the right lens by many of the people in cryptocurrency. So I appreciate that. But yeah, Josh Denham said adulting sucks, lol. Yeah, it certainly can. Anyway, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo. And by the way, don't forget about Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. And we've also got financial coaching over there. We've been able to help some people work through putting together budgets and working on their debt. And you might think, well, Jeb, what does that have to do anything with cryptocurrency? I think it has everything to do with crypto, because if you are in the business of trying to make money, then if you're hoping that you're just going to strike it rich because you invested in Cardano at 25 cents, or you invested at Bitcoin at 16,000 or whatever, but you are in $300,000 worth of debt and you don't have a budget, then I'm sorry to tell you, but your issue is actually a personal finance problem. And then after you graduate from that, then you can start making some money in crypto. So if you're in that boat, that's obviously not the main thing that we do. That's kind of a side thing. But if you're in that boat and you're interested, I can help you with the personal finances too. You can find that over on, go to cryptojeb.com. I'll show you right here. Going over to cryptojeb.com, scroll down. You can just hit our courses enroll now. I believe that'll take you over here. Welcome to Club DeFi. Scroll down and you can see financial coaching down here, and you've got Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis right there. Boom. Hope you guys are all enjoying that content that you have over there. All right, as I said, guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.